Welcome to channel Qtomation. In today's session we will see about usability testing. So we have discussed different level of software testing. In previous sessions we have seen what is unit testing, integration testing, system testing and user acceptance testing. These are high levels of software testing. Unit testing, integration testing are mainly done by developers, and as a tester we focus more on system testing. Requirement documents go through test plan, test execution, test reports. All these activities are covered in the system testing. System testing is basically checking overall functionality of the system. System testing is normally done in the QA environments. And in system testing, we have seen four types of system testing are there. So system testing includes four type of testing. First one is graphical user interface testing, that is GUI testing or UI testing we can say, where we focus on look and feel of the application around the different web elements which are displayed on the application, that we have seen in details in the previous session. Second type is usability testing. So in system testing we have to focus on usability testing as well. So in today's session we will see what exactly is usability testing. What is usability testing? As the name says, usability testing. Usability. What do you mean by usability? How easy the software is to use, that comes under the usability. Usability testing is a method used to evaluate how easy and user-friendly a product is by observing real users as they interact with it. For example, basically usability testing means whatever the new feature is coming after the development, that new feature in our product, how easy that is to use by the end user. So how easy that specific feature or that specific product which we are testing, how easy it is used by the end user. So the main goal of usability testing is to see if the people can use the product like website, application or any other device without any problems and to identify any issues if they might face. Usability testing also includes how much context user can easily get around the application easily. So more self-serve application is, more usable it will be. So if new user is going to use some new application, it should be very easy for the user to understand the application. Example, tooltips, help manuals, providing how to do videos, etc. So whenever on the website, we can see multiple type of tooltips. Those tooltips guide the user that what that specific functionality or let's say any button, what that going to do, that is informed by tooltips. Some website can also have help manuals, which will have detailed explanation about usability of that specific product. Some websites can also give you how to do videos. So we can have small snippets of videos in which how to use that specific feature or how to perform the actions on the website around that new feature that is provided in the small videos. So all these are examples to improve the usability of the software. So the insights which are gained from usability testing basically help designers and developers to improve the product by making it easier and more intuitive to use. Overall, this can lead to a better and user experience for and higher satisfaction. So, whenever as a QA we are focusing on testing, we should always focus on usability testing as well. So, if the software is created by referring to the requirements, that doesn't mean that it will be always usable as well, because sometimes let's take an example of some button. That button can be working functionally very well, that button can be clicked and that is performing the action as per the expectation. But that doesn't mean that it will be every time it will be usable. So if the position of button is not correct, or that button is hidden somewhere, or if user have to scroll too much to click on that button, then that is not a good user experience. So as a QA, we should always focus on usability of the software as well. And we should provide that feedback to developers so that that application use should be very easy for the user. User should be able to use that very easily and it should not create any confusion or complexity in the mind of user. So as a QA and tester, we should always behave like end users while testing the new feature which is developed. In case as a tester, if you see that there is any area of the software which we find difficult or which we find complex to use, then we should inform to developer to make it easier. Because when you are testing any new feature, if you see that is complex to use, so as an end user, if you are as a tester facing that complex to use, then obviously after going it to the production, end user will also feel the same. End user will find it very difficult to use or they will feel confusing to use. And whenever end user is going to confused, there are high chances that they will drop off that application. So it's not about always about the functional testing. So as a tester, we should also focus on usability testing as well. That whatever software or whatever changes or whatever new feature we are bringing into the software, that should be usable as well. There should not be any confusing or complex area in that specific feature or software. Now let's see some of the examples of bad versus good usability in software testing as well as design. So let's say whenever we get any developed product or any new feature, there can be examples of good usability and bad usability. So as a tester, whenever you feel that this is a bad usability, we should inform the developers to make it more usable and more easy to understand. Now let's see some of the examples. Navigation. What would be the bad usability around navigation? Confusing navigation. So let's take a website that has a cluttered menu with unclear labels, making it hard for users to find the information they need. So let's say there is a website which has a cluttered menu and the labels are also not clear. So users will see those labels and user will get confused. If the label is not informative, the user will get confused. It will be hard for users to find the information they need. For example, if there is a shopping website where the categories are buried in submenus and the labels are ambiguous. For example, collections instead of men's clothing or let's say women's clothing. So if it is clearly written men's clothing and women's clothing, then it will be easy to understand. But if collections, if it is mentioned as collections, then it will be confusing for user. So what would be the good usability? Clear navigation. So navigation should be clear. A website with straightforward menu structure, clearly labeled categories and a visible search bar. If our website is having straightforward menu structure, labels are clear and there will be a search bar. So that will make more usable. So user can search on it. User can just understand the labels as well. So that is the good usability. For example, if you take e-commerce website with top menu bar that includes clear categories like men, women, kids and prominent search bar as well. So user can easily search the category he wants. So that is the example of good usability. Let's see one more example. Forms. On the website, multiple times we see different type of forms. Forms are used to take the information from user in various fields. Complicated forms. So if you see the forms are complicated, a form that requires excessive information and unclear instructions are there, leading to user frustration and errors. For example, if you take a registration form which is asking for unnecessary details like fax number without any clear indication of which fields are required. So if you are taking inputs in the form, we should always ask only the relevant information and not the irrelevant information. If you ask irrelevant information to user, then the user will get frustrated. User will not like it. That is the pure example of bad usability. Then how the good usability will be? Simple forms. A form should be simple. It should ask always the necessary information only. It should not ask any unnecessary information. Also, form should have the clear labels and clear instructions, and that should provide instant feedback on errors. So if there is a file upload functionality, that file upload button should have clear instruction written in it that which files are going to be supported. So user will upload only those files. If you don't provide the supported file input text there, then user might upload some files which are not supported, and unnecessarily it will be frustrating for user. Another example of good usability will be sign up form that only asks for the name, email and password. And in case of some incorrect input, it should show the inline error messages with clear indication of required fields. That is the example of good usability. Now let's see one more example, error messages. Now bad usability. What would be the bad usability? Unhelpful error messages. So whenever we are showing the error messages to user, those error messages should not be very much technical. If they are technical, so normally developers who writes the code, he is a technical person. But the end user who is going to use that software, that may or may not be the technical person. So he will not understand the technical keywords. So we should not show the error messages which are too technical, right? So we should not show the technical error messages. For example, if you show 404 error page not found, then end user will not understand it, right? So for end user, what is 404 page not found? He will not understand the meaning of it. As a taker person, you can understand the meaning, but for end user, if it is not technical end user, then it will not understand the error message. That is the example of bad usability. So user will not know what exactly he did the wrong thing. Now, what is the good usability? Helpful error messages. So for incorrect user action, if you show the correct error message that are clear, specific and provide actionable steps to resolve the issue. So if the error message is clear, user will understand what incorrect action he has taken and user will correct that action. That's why we should always display the meaningful error messages to end user. Another example would be, for example, if you show the error message like the page you are looking for couldn't be found, check the URL for errors or visit our home page. Now that error message will be easily understood by end user and he can perform action like that. So as a tester, whenever we are testing it, we should always focus on good usability. Wherever you find the usability is not right, we should inform the developers. Now these usability related things may or may not be written in the functional requirement document, because the PRD or the functional requirement document which is written by product mainly revolves around the new changes or new features which we are going to bring. Those functionality documents will sometimes it might not include these usability related points. So there is a high chances that product team might not consider these usability related points. But as a tester or as a QA, we should always focus on these usability related points. And whenever we observe such issues, we should immediately inform to developer to make it more easier and more meaningful. Another example would be button design. Let's say inconsistent buttons. So buttons that look different across the application and lack clear labeling, making it hard for user to know what action they will perform. So if you have the buttons on the website and if they don't provide the correct label, or let's say their size is not constant across the website, then that is usability wise not a right experience. For example, if the website with buttons that vary in size, color and style, some saying submit and some buttons saying go, or let's say some buttons saying next without any clear context. So that would be confusing for user. If you are using the button labels for the same functionality, it should be constant across the website. What is the good usability then? Consistent buttons. Buttons that are uniformly designed and those are clearly labeled with action specific text. A website where all the primary action buttons are the same color and size and use the clear labels like submit order or sign up. That is the example of good usability. Mobile experience. Now, what is the bad usability in mobile experience? Non-responsive design. Let's say there is a website that doesn't adapt to the different screen sizes of mobile, making it hard to navigate on the mobile devices. So if there is a website, so mobile size can be different across the users. So whatever website we are developing, that should be responsive enough. That should be properly displayed on all the size of mobiles. A site that requires horizontal scrolling on a smartphone and has touch targets that are too small to tap easily. If you're on the mobile screen, if there are horizontal scrolling and have some targets that are very difficult to tap, then it is a bad usability. What is the good usability then? Responsive design. A website that adjusts the layout and fit on the different sizes of mobile that will ensure the smooth experience on both the desktop as well as mobile devices. That is the example of good usability. Right, so that is the example of good usability. So these are all the different examples. There can be multiple other examples as well. But as a tester, we should primarily and always focus on usability as well. So as a functional testing, along with the functional testing, we should always focus on usability testing as well. So that's why usability testing is very important during software testing, because such points may or may not be written in the requirement document. But as a tester, we should always focus on such usability related points, because at the end user will face the software. If it is not easy to use, end user will not be satisfied with the quality of the software. So that's where usability testing comes into the picture. So let's revise one more time. What is usability testing? Usability testing is done by considering and by ensuring the easiness of the software. It can be a new feature, it can be an existing feature. Whenever we are testing, we should always focus, we should always ensure that software is easy to use for the end users as well. So that's about usability testing. Thank you for watching this video.